Welcome to China Reporter. A large number of bodies no longer intact were discovered on Beijing roads. Landslide in China, dozens buried in freezing winter temperatures. $80,000 tourists trapped in Hainan due to no train tickets, 10x increase in flight prices. China's Coast Guard has triggered panic in Taiwan, a part of Beijing's cunning plan. A large number of bodies no longer intact were discovered on Beijing roads. On February 26, the images posted on the most popular social media in China, Weibo, immediately caught the eyes of the public. These images showed that a large number of mutilated bodies were scattered on Liuliqiao Avenue in Beijing. The cause of this incident is still unclear. However, until the evening, all information related to this incident was blocked, and there were no results when citizens searched the related keywords on Weibo. It seemed that the Chinese Communist Party intervened to cover the secret behind it from the public investigation. One day later, on the 21st of February, the related images and videos were uploaded to platform X in foreign. But after only a few hours, these all were deleted. Netizens were also surprised by the domination of the CPP on social platforms. The photo shows that within a few dozen meters of a lane on the left side of the road, a large number of bodies are scattered. Some are covered or wrapped in white cloth, but there are still a large number of exposed body parts. The lanes are separated by white tape, and there is a police officer guarding the scene. Besides, a video was also spread, allegedly filmed by a passing driver. This driver kept exclaiming because of scaring and freaking out. When passing police officers on the street, he had to immediately hide his camera behind the steering wheel of his car. People suspect that he was intentionally evading the police. Due to the CCP's limitations, it is unclear what is the nature and the cause of the incident. Some people speculate that it could have been a car accident. However, some netizens, after watching the video, questioned that no vehicle involved in the accident was seen at the scene. Some people still wonder, how can a car accident tear a person in such pieces? Below a post on X, a Chinese netizen commented, "I'm sure that this is not a common accident." Currently searching for bodies at Liuliqiao and Liuliqiao car accident on mainland social networks cannot find any related news. It may indicate that the authorities have introduced a network-wide ban. China's economy is currently facing a crisis and recession. Many mass incidents and terrorist killings frequently occur. The CCP's stabilization of public opinion is becoming increasingly tense, and any reveal can become a target for suppression. This is especially true in the Gyeonggi area, which is considered the face of the CCP. Landslide in China, dozens buried in freezing winter temperatures. A landslide in southwestern China's mountainous Yunnan province early on Monday buried 47 people, killing at least 2, and forced the evacuation of 500 more amid freezing temperatures and falling snow. Xinhua News Agency reported that the landslide occurred in a hilly village within Zhaoshang City in Yunnan province at around 5:51 a.m. local time. According to the China National Fire and Rescue Administration's social media, the Yunnan Provincial Fire and Rescue Corps immediately dispatched 812 personnel and 45 dogs to begin search and rescue efforts for at least 47 people missing across 18 different households. A villager told state-run magazine China News Weekly that he was woken by a loud roaring noise early on Monday and rushed out of his house to find out what had happened.
The sound rippled in the darkness,
like firecrackers being set off. He soon realized the mountain had collapsed and quickly woke up his family to escape to safety. The landslide was triggered by the collapse of a steep cliff at the top of the mountain slope, with the collapsed mass measuring about 100 meters wide, 60 meters high, and 6 meters thick. The collapsed area was about 150 meters above the village without explaining what caused the cliff to crumble. Luo Dongmei, 35 years old, was sleeping when the landslide struck, but she survived and was relocated to a school building by local authorities. She said, "I was asleep, but my brother knocked on the door and woke me up. They said there was a landslide and the bed was shaking, so they rushed upstairs and woke us up." According to the latest announcement, the death toll from a landslide in southwest China has risen to 31. The rescue work still faces many difficulties due to the weather. The area was hit by heavy snow on Sunday night, and although the snowfall has lightened since, the temperature lingered below freezing Monday when the landslide hit. According to China's Meteorological Administration, much of southern China, including Yunnan, is in the middle of a cold snap, with temperatures dropping near or below freezing. The landslide in Yunnan also came just over a month after China's most powerful earthquake in years struck the northwest in a remote region between Gansu and Qinghai provinces. Nearly 1,000 people were injured and more than 14,000 homes were destroyed in what was China's deadliest earthquake in 9 years. 80,000 tourists trapped in Hainan due to no train tickets, 10x increase in flight prices. On February 17th, the Haiou Newport Terminal in Hainan Province became a scene of frustration and desperation as stranded passengers endured hours-long queues without boarding ferries. The situation unfolded into a nightmarish scenario for travelers, particularly those who had embarked on self-guided tours, finding themselves trapped due to the incapacity of the ferry system to accommodate the influx of people. What was meant to be a leisurely vacation turned into a grueling ordeal, with some individuals reporting being in line for nearly 60 hours, uncertain of when they would finally be able to depart. According to official news from Hainan City, as of 7 a.m. on the 20th of February, approximately 3,000 small vehicles were stuck waiting in the Newport area, requiring over 5 hours to clear, while around 5,200 vehicles at various ferry waiting areas outside the port needed more than 9 hours to be processed due to the tight supply of ferry tickets for leaving. The ordeal wasn't limited to just long waits. It was compounded by the realization that leaving the island had become nearly as difficult as ascending to heaven. The scarcity of tickets added another layer of complexity, leaving hundreds stranded without a means to return home. As train tickets sold out and flight prices surged to unprecedented levels, many found themselves effectively trapped on Hainan Island, with all modes of departure, air, land, and sea, blocked. The situation reached a boiling point, sparking protests and public outcry. Many videos recorded by citizens show frustrated tourists blocking roads and confronting authorities, demanding answers and solutions to their plight. The frustration was palpable, with one individual expressing disbelief at the lack of foresight and management, labeling the port as chaotic and disorderly, unlike anything seen before in China. As the Chinese New Year holiday drew to a close, the issue of stranded tourists in Hainan became a hot topic on social media platforms, with over 80,000 individuals forced into prolonged stays and exorbitant spending. The inability to secure ferry tickets, especially for electric vehicles, became a focal point of criticism, with many attributing the shortage to regulatory measures aimed at ensuring safety, but resulting in logistical nightmares. Efforts to leave the island proved futile for many. Despite queuing for hours and attempting both online and in-person ticket purchases, tourists faced disappointment and uncertainty. Even those who opted to abandon their vehicles and seek alternative transportation were met with inflated flight prices and logistical challenges, further exacerbating their predicament. In addition to the financial strain, stranded tourists faced emotional and psychological distress, uncertain of when they would be able to return home and resume their normal lives. China's Coast Guard has triggered panic in Taiwan, a part of Beijing's cunning plan. The King Xia, a Taiwanese tourist boat carrying 23 passengers was on a journey around Taiwan's outlying Kinmen Islands, located just a few miles off China's southeastern coast. However, the routine voyage took an unexpected turn when it was intercepted by 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels. 6 Chinese officers swooped on board, checking the vessel's route plan, certificate, and the licenses of its 11 crew members in a forced inspection that lasted about half an hour, according to Taiwan's Coast Guard, which said King Xia had veered toward the Chinese side of the water to avoid shoals. The unprecedented encounter with Chinese law enforcement at a time of heightened tension between Beijing and Taipei startled Taiwanese passengers on board. A passenger on this vessel shared his scary, "It's super scary. I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to come back to Taiwan." Quan Biling, head of Taiwan's Ocean Affairs Council, said Tuesday the incident triggered panic among the Taiwanese public. For years, sightseeing boat tours between Kinmen and Xiamen, the closest city on the Chinese mainland, have offered Taiwanese tourists a chance to gaze at China's dazzling skyline without the hassle of border checks, with China operating similar tour boats for its citizens too. But now the popular route has been caught up in rising tensions as China's Coast Guard steps up patrols in the area, in what analysts say is the latest effort by North Korea. Beijing aims to tilt the status quo in its favor by weakening Taiwan's control of the sea. Escalating tensions come after 2 Chinese fishermen drowned last week when their speedboat capsized during a pursuit by Taiwan's Coast Guard, which accused them of trespassing prohibited waters around Kinmen. Beijing has blamed Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party for the death and seized on the opportunity to expand its presence in the waters. On Tuesday morning, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel intruded into Taiwan-controlled waters near Kinmen for an hour. Ian Chong, a political expert at the National University of Singapore, said the latest measures are part of China's gray zone tactics, referring to coercive or aggressive state actions that stop short of open warfare, something Beijing has used increasingly in recent years in the East and South China Seas, as well as toward Taiwan. The inspection of a Taiwanese tour boat by China's Coast Guard, which Chong said had not happened before, was meant to provoke Taiwan and see if it would either escalate or accept this sort of behavior as given. That move from China can be considered an early test for the new president. China has already increased pressure on Taiwan after Vice President Lai Ching-te, a staunch defender of Taiwanese identity and sovereignty, won the presidential election in January, handing the DPP a historic 3rd consecutive term. Days after the election, Beijing poached one of Taipei's few remaining diplomatic allies, the Pacific Island nation of Nauru. These actions are not only a declaration of sovereignty by Beijing, but also a gradual demonstration and establishment of a new normal in China's governance and law enforcement in the Taiwan Strait, a nationalist Chinese news site. And these are the breaking news for today. Thanks for watching our video and hope to see you in the next video.